This week on Talk of the Town, we feature the B.R.A.V.O team at Bear River High School and have a winter sports recap. If you've attended Bear River High School for a basketball game or wrestling match this past season, you've probably noticed some nice additions. The school has upgraded their scoreboards and added a production, allowing them to better showcase athletes and feature the game with special animations and replays. Athletic Director Clay Chournos discusses how that was made possible, and we meet the B.R.A.V.O team who is responsible for shouldering this new endeavor.
So I have to hand it to the district office and really Keith Meekum and our former business guy. They did a really good job of listening to the schools and to the ADs. Both Jesse Roberts and myself kind of went in and said, listen, guys, there's a lot of things here that we can't provide the amount of money we need for our sports programs. And some of those things are things like scoreboards and bleachers and equipment that we can't raise that much money. And you know, we obviously did some great things with the turf, but that's sort of an exception, right? You can't, and we were really going to our businesses and I felt like just bleeding them dry, to be honest with you. And I didn't think that was fair, and neither did Jesse. And so we kind of went to the district office and said, look, what can we do to sort of put some money into just athletics that then each school can apply for that money depending on their needs, and kind of set that aside. And so Keith and the business person did a Dave Roberts was his name. They did a great job of sort of figuring out how to do that. And so they were able to give us enough money that both Bear River and Box Elder were able to look at needs across the board and do a ton of stuff. And the nice part about it is we have that money ongoing for the next 4 or 5 years that we can continue to upgrade some things. So that's the money that we got to pay for that board entirely came from the district office. So we bought the new board, and then the other scoreboard that's on the other side of the gym looks a lot like the other one, but it's new as well. So both of those are brand new. And we were able to take the older scoreboards, even they were still in great shape, and move them over to the natatorium, because honestly the natatorium scoreboards had been there since like 1984. I was literally buying on Amazon. I'd buy like boxes of the little bulb Christmas lights, and then we would get up there and like unhook one and put one in, and just so you could tell what the numbers were. Now they can have shot clocks and all that kind of stuff in the natatorium, so that was a good deal. The district office, I feel like, has listened to some things that we needed and really, really understood what needed to happen and said, yeah, we've got to do some things to help, and then gave us the freedom to say what is it that we need, and put some things in priority. And so we've still got a list, but at least we're checking a few things off as we go. We got a ton of compliments. We really haven't even scratched the surface yet, because the board went in like literally 2 days before the first game, so we didn't really have a chance to play with it a whole lot. Which we through the year we were able to do a lot more things. If you kind of notice, we put a lot more of your guys' stuff. We were able to do some live feed up there, that was entirely the whole B.R.A.V.O team. I have to give them a ton of credit. They obviously contacted you guys and said, we want to make this happen, and they figured out a way to make it work. And so I know you guys helped them out a ton that way, but it was fun to see what they wanted to do with it and what their vision was. And so, yeah, we have a lot of things that we can do with that. And we used it obviously for basketball, but I think for wrestling, it was fun. You know, the home matches where, especially once we got replay to work with you guys, we were able to show, you know, pins and wins and stuff like that up on the big board. The only other boards that are like that in our region are at Westfield, and they got 4 of them. So I'm a little jealous, but the way their gym's laid out is a little different too. You know, we're the only ones now that have that big of a video board. So it's kind of fun. We're gonna do a lot more things next year. We'll have a lot more interaction with the crowd a little bit. We're gonna try to help our cheerleaders out just a little bit when they're doing certain cheers. We're gonna try to put it up on the board as well. So there's a lot of integration that we're gonna try to make sure that it's a little bit better next year. But I felt like our B.R.A.V.O team, they did a phenomenal job. At about 18 kids that were in a class. It was an AM class, so they had to get there at 6:30, and they were able to do all the graphics and everything that went with that. And then they rotated who was there after school, and they would stay there after school. Basketball starts at 3:30 basically, and they'd stay there and make sure that the sophomore games ran well and the JV game ran well, and then get it for the varsity game. And they were there the whole time. And I genuinely don't know if any of those kids had ever watched a basketball game before, to be honest with you. In fact, I know 3 or 4 of them didn't, because they told me. But then to watch them get involved and get excited for stuff, and then be waiting for certain things to happen so they could push the button so that, you got a great shot or foul or whatever. It was a lot of fun to see those kids get involved with it and have a place that they felt like, hey, I make a difference here. And they did. A ton of compliments came from the community. And every time they'd say something to me, I'm like, well, it's not me. I mean, the board's up there. Maybe I had something to do with getting the board, but as far as the content that's there, that's all our kids. That's just, and they've done a fun job with that, and they're all excited for next year, man. They got all kinds of ideas they're going to run with next year. So I'm excited to see what they're going to do. Floor mapping system. It's the company's called Luxido. And I don't know if you've been to a game before. We would shut all the lights off, and then we had literally flashlights in the balcony that we would kind of shine and try to make it look cool. And that was fun, but just wasn't, it's a little bit ghetto. This company approached me, and it was right about the time we were figuring stuff out with the video board, and it was fairly expensive, but we felt like we could integrate it pretty well together with this class. And so, I contacted a few people at the district office, because it has to do with CTE. The class is a CTE class because it's a computer class. And so Ben Wiley, who was one of our counselors at the high school for a while, is now the district office CTE guy. And he and I worked out some things based on some money that he had for that type of class and stuff like that. And then the Central Booster Club helped us out. They were actually able to help us with a good portion of it. What it is there's 3 projectors at the top of the gym that they came in and installed, and it maps our floor. So we have to actually take a picture of the floor, and then our kids, what they do is they use a program called Adobe After Effects, and then they basically build movies. I mean, that's really what it is. And then it projects onto the floor, and there's a lot of 3D things that they can do with it. And again, it was something that got installed right before, it was right before Christmas break when we got that installed. And so I think we're just scratching the surface on what we can do with that. But that was a lot of fun. The kids love it. We actually used it for a dance one night too, and we'll continue to do that. We'll use it for as many things as we possibly can, because we want those kids to keep using their skills, but also we want to use the board when we can. We want to use the mapping when we can, because that's what it's there for. So we just barely put a bid out on the state for a video board for the stadium. The idea is, and it's not 100% obviously done deal yet, but the idea is it would be big enough. The size would basically be the same size as everything that's out there right now, not just the scoreboard, but also the ad panels that are there. That would be all one gigantic video board. And then we would be able to use it for all of our sports that are out there. Football, soccer, lacrosse, track would all be used for that board. And then we would be able to use it for graduation. We'd obviously be able to use it for other things, youth programs and stuff that way. So that's in the works. We did just put it out to bid. We're going to see where the numbers come in. I'm pretty confident on what I think the numbers are going to be, but you never know. So you have to kind of wait for that to come in. But I think we're going to be okay there. And hopefully the plan is, if everything goes well, we'll have that for at least our first football game. I'm hoping we have it for our first soccer game so we can use it as well. But the plan is, if everything goes well, we'll get there for fall. And that'll be the same kids will be running that. So they're going to be doing all the graphics and everything that'll go with that. And I'm sure they'll hook up with you guys and get some live streaming going up on the boards as well. So that'll be fun for everybody, I think, to be a good upgrade that again, nobody else in our region has. So it'll be fun to have something that somebody else doesn't.
B.R.A.V.O is an acronym. It is Bear River Athletic Visual Organization. It was definitely inspired by the military. Our instructor is a veteran, and it was, Alpha Bravo.
So I'm Montel. I do work on a lot of the more simple of the like headshots and stuff. So it's like the pictures of like the players for like senior night, or pictures of players for like if they score a point and stuff like that. And so I help work on those. And I sort of got into this because he asked me, and I've had some work with like Photoshop and video editing and editing of different sorts of media. And so I thought it would be a cool experience to be able to help with this and bring this to others in our community.
I'm Trenton. I mainly do the creation of the actual functionality of the scoreboards and data fields. I do the physical buttons on the display studio as well, and I tend to make the scoreboards and sidebars mainly. I started this at the same time. I was the one who kind of got all of them here, recruiter essentially.
I am Tavin. So basically, what I do is we have a music section, and I do that a lot. I like doing this stuff. He pulled me into this stuff. I don't know anything, and I've just been learning about all this. It's a cool experience.
I'm Bo, and I usually do 3D modeling or the music section. He also pulled me into this, and I don't have much 3D modeling experience. I've only done it for about a year.
I'm Axton. I'm kind of just a small jack of all trades, master of nothing. I can do a little bit of everything, but again, not mastered in anything. I'm a decent animator. I can run display studio.
My name is Joshua Bailey. I mostly help people with the animation software we use. I have been 3D modeling for about 2 or 3 years now. I love to animate. It's one of my hobbies, and I mostly help with either the displays, the music.
I, for a short time, did IT STEM after school through Bridgerland, and we had a substitute. It was our current instructor, Eden. He came and told me about the floor mapping software he used, which is Luxido Projecting, and I got severely interested, and he asked me to spread the word to a few other people. I sent out mass emails. That's kind of how everybody knew about this. I hope we get more people. I mean, this is really interesting. People really enjoy what we do, and with the amount of people who know stuff like this, electronic-wise, digitally, we can probably expect 5 or more people next year, hopefully. We originally started with 12. 2 people dropped because they didn't have the time for it. This is definitely very time. You need to dedicate your time to this. Every morning, school morning, we're usually here from about 6:30 to 7:15, depends on when you'd like to leave. We are in a computer lab down in the Ag building, and we just are there doing animations, making. With the actual running games and stuff, we just have this laptop. We have a couple of the devices they give us to set up All Sport, and the music table down there as well.
For music, we usually just either set up the computer and open an app called Sound Director, and with that, it's just a bunch of songs that we can set up on a playlist. Oh yeah, we can also fade out the music, which is a big part of so it doesn't do a hard stop and make it sound sudden silence, which is weird.
The 3D modeling, we mostly just wake up in the morning. We think of ideas of what we want to do, animate, right? Blender is a software that I was kind of grew up in, and I guess we mostly 3D model with that because it's it's free and it's really easy to use.
The beginning, we started with wrestling and basketball. We were definitely having issues at the beginning where they gave us barely any time to prepare. This was definitely start and learn as fast as you can. We had 2 weeks, I think, total at the beginning until sports began. It was a lot more of a mess, but slowly you definitely learn the software a lot better, and you create a lot more better looking designs when you have more time for it. I feel like the crowd definitely enjoys what we saw. The other day we had a mop the floor animation, which this guy made. All of the basketball players were definitely happy with it. They were all smiling when they were playing. Coach Hawes, our counselor here, was definitely very enthusiastic when he was down here doing shot clock, I believe, the other day. He was definitely enjoying the animations based on his. He was constantly looking back at us, giving us thumbs ups and stuff like that, at least me. And other people are more curious on what we do.
My favorite is going to get some food or some after the Luxido plays and seeing all the little kids in awe at what we can do with all these projections, and it's really fun.
Spring, we're just here for boys volleyball. That's pretty much all we're here for. Although hopefully we're going to get more sports next year with hopefully an addition of a board in the football field. Is not confirmed nor denied. It's going to look similar to what we have here, animations for and against our team. So our team would have for and against the other team. Definite, probably more closer to the actual game instead of messing around with airball and travel, but yeah.
Me personally, I kind of want this group to grow because there are some days where there's not a lot of people. Like last night, I believe there was only 2 people here, and it was chaotic.
I'm really excited to kind of refine all of our different skills on the off season, so hopefully make all of our visuals and our audio a whole lot better for next year, especially for football. Really excited about that.
I'm really happy I'm in a group that I can use for kind of like my college career, my pursuit in working in animation. I'm kind of excited about that, and I'm also glad that I have a group that's enthusiastic and is, actually wants to make stuff.
Because this definitely is a very team thing. It's not one person does this, one person does that. It's definitely more tackle everything with your group of people, and it should definitely make the game go a lot better. With the software we use, we stick to Daktronics. Their Display Studio is the software they gave to us. When showing scores and stuff like that, that's coming from real-time data from B.R.A.V.O, which is their scoreboard software. That's also what we're doing with the statistics board as well, and along with the sidebars and stuff like that with the scores. Animations, it's stored on the computer down in the sound closet. They're 3D, 2D animations that we make ourselves, most of them at least. Some of them are presets given to us. It's stored on the actual computer down there, and this is basically just a remote software that tells it what to play. When it comes to actually creating the actual designs, we use a software called Content Studio. These are all data fields that are sent into by Allsport. With B.R.A.V.O Live's replays, though, there's a physical port down at the switch, and this is basically pulling that and just displaying it here like a capture card, essentially. My personal favorite is the airball one, mainly because it's just something ridiculous and funny. Another really good one is our travel animation, which this was made by Josh, along with our 3-point, which is pretty simple. We did specifically try and go for the bowling animations, just for the comedy of it.
Talk of the Town is made possible by supportive sponsors who love our community. Show your love by supporting them today.
Back here at Miller Medical Studios, doing our winter sports recap here with Athletic Director Clay Chournos.
Always good to be here.
Oh, good.
Means I still got a job.
Yeah. No, we're happy to have you. We start with drill and cheer then.
Okay. Drill and cheer had a really good year. This is I believe our third year. It's either our third or fourth year. It might be our fourth year of doing of crossover to where we have kids that are on the cheer team that are also on the drill team and are able to do both. And that's really strengthened our drill program a ton, has allowed us to sort of resurrect that program a little bit. This year we had 30-something girls that were involved with drill, and obviously a good chunk of those were also cheerleaders. They did a great job. We ended up 8th in the RPI going into the state competition, and we did really well in our region. Had some really good preliminary competitions that we went to. Did really well. We took a couple of firsts and ended up second overall and won. So did a really good job with all of that, and then got down to the state tournament, and unfortunately got into a really, really tough. They bracket everybody, so there's three brackets of 4, and the other. We had a couple of teams in our bracket that were really tough, Stansbury and Westfield. Westfield ended up taking second overall, and we were really close to Stansbury right there, almost coming out of that to go to the finals, to the final day. So that was a little bit of a heartbreak for them, not being able to come out of there, but I thought they did a great job all year. They looked good. They had a lot of energy. I got a lot of compliments. I know especially our dance routine this year was got a ton of compliments. Had actually some people email me after a competition just to say how awesome that their dance routine was. So felt good about everything that they were doing. And then cheer, obviously this year was they went to nationals this year. State-wise, they ended up making it to the final day. And then did okay in the final day, but again, we're in a really, really tough with the 4A situation now, where it's not just us in St. George anymore. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of really tough teams in the middle of the state there that are pretty good, and we ended up, I think, fourth. Which is really good for us, but not as good as it has been in the past. So it was a little bit of a disappointment for some of those kids, but I still thought they did really well. Then they got to go to their national competition in California, and in their national competition they did really well. I think they ended up 7th overall in the national competition with, I think there was like 36 teams, something like that there.
That's really good.
Really, really good. Had a great time, and so we'll miss. There's a ton of seniors on both of those two squads that we'll definitely miss, and then we'll miss obviously we're having a fairly large turnover in our coaching staff for cheer this year. Coach Birkinshaw's been there for 13 years, and she's done a phenomenal job. She took over a program that was obviously really good to begin with, but has made it even better. And especially now that we're sanctioned as a cheer program, and you do state competitions, she had to figure out how to make that work for us as well, and they've done a phenomenal job with that. And so we're gonna miss Tori. She's done a great job. I tried to talk her out of it, but she's got some kids, her kids that are coming through, and she wants to spend some time with her own kids, and I understand that. And then Kate Wood obviously has been there since Tori got the job as well, as one of her main assistants, and she just had a little girl, and so felt like it was a good time for both of them to hang it up, and so we appreciate everything that they've done. We hired Katie Summers to take over for us, and so she'll be the new head coach there, and we're in the process of doing some stuff to get some assistants, and so I'm confident that Katie will do a great job. She's been there as a main assistant there for I think 4 years, at least 3 years, and maybe I think 4. And she knows the system in and out. She obviously was a cheerleader for us when she was in high school, mm-hmm. And she'll do a fantastic job. So yeah, overall drill and cheer, I thought did a great job this year. We love that program. They're always super supportive of all the rest of our programs, and so we'll continue to keep that moving forward.
We got fourth in region, right? In drill,
4th overall. Yeah,
we ended up being 9th in the classification.
So the RPI, our region's tough. Obviously, if you look at it, I mean, you got Ridgeline, you got Westfield.
Westfield came in with a force.
And really, I mean, that's what happens sometimes, because they really what Westfield was Fremont. I mean, let's be honest, and they were great, but their coach came from Fremont, and a lot of those girls followed her mm-hmm. Over, and so it was, we were really kind of facing a 6A school, which is fine. That's the way things go sometimes. But they were really good. And then Ridgeline was really good. And then we were right there. Our score with Skyview, Skyview was just one above us, but we were right there. It was mm-hmm. It was within tenths of points. It wasn't like a huge gap there. So yeah.
Your academic all-state from cheer was Olivia Collister.
Yeah, Olivia's been a Senior, yep. 3-year, obviously, starter. I don't know if you call starter and cheer, but yeah, it's 3-year person there. And she's done some drill as well. She's done some crossover stuff. So yeah, Olivia works hard. She's one of the seniors that we'll miss. I guess she gives a lot of leadership there, and a lot of support, and does some really good things leadership wise. So yeah, we like Olivia. She's always in the office. She's got she's got 4 classes where she's a TA. I'm kidding. She only has 1, but she's always in the office, and so we always
for good reasons.
Yeah, for good reasons. Never just in my office. She's always doing good stuff for us. So yeah, swimming this year, we were a little bit light on our girls swimmers this year, but we have a lot of young kids coming up, so we're looking for some good things to happen there. We didn't have very many of our girl swimmers qualify for too many things at state, but we did have a few. And like I said, we had some kids PR down there, so that was nice to see. Our boys team took a few more to state, and then they had a couple of chances to possibly come back on the second day of state for some relay teams, and just barely missed out on that. But had a couple of really nice swims and did some PRs and were able to do some good things there. Kind of one of the fun pieces this year was we actually had a unified team this year, which is some of our Special Olympics type athletes.
Okay.
So we had a unified team, and one of our unified team members took state and broke the 50 free record, Luke Hatch. And then his brother Wyatt was I think he was third. If I remember right, he was third in that race. I think Hunt Bishop was fifth. And then they were on a mixed relay team as well that won the state unified championship. So we had a couple of fun stuff there, and they got to be our athletes of the week, the 1 week. So that was fun for them. It was really good for our school. We had a lot of people down there supporting them, and it was good for those kids. So that was some fun stuff. And I have to give our coach, Coach Beard and Coach Esplin a lot of credit for making that work for those kids, and having them come to practice and work hard, and all of the support that they got from the rest of the swimmers that were there this year was really cool. It's kind of fun to watch. And like I said, they were super excited. They all got to be on the podium, and that was pretty fun. So, Coach Esplin and Coach Beard do a really good job of being super inclusive with all of our kids. They love to have kids come out and swim. It's an interesting program because you have kids that have swam for a long, long time and are really pretty good, but then you have kids that have never tried the sport before. Mm-hmm. But it's one of those sports that if you want to come in and work, and you want to actually get in the pool and do some things, man, you can see some huge growth. And Coach Esplin does a really good job of trying to go out and recruit those types of kids that maybe don't have another area that they excel in, but they really want to work hard, and they want to do some things, and they can see a lot of growth. They may not make it to the state finals or whatever, just because right now it's insane. The Utah's actually in swimming one of the better states around. They have a lot of really, really good kids that they put into D1 programs right now across the state, so it's a pretty competitive situation. But just being able to get in and seeing improvement, and seeing personal records that they get to break, and that's the nice part about swimming is you're swimming against other people, but you're really swimming against how good you can be yourself. And so it's pretty fun. And Danny and Joel do a really good job, along with their assistant coaches, of being super inclusive with our kids, which we appreciate, because we want athletics at B.R.A.V.O High School to be. We want every kid. That would be my goal, is to have every kid be involved in somewhere in athletics somehow. There's so many things that you can learn from athletics, and so there's a lot of the programs that some of those kids can get in there and really learn those things without having to feel like they've got to be the best at something, and they can just get a lot better and focus on what they can do. So we appreciate the swimmers.
You had two girls, academic all-states. You had Isabel Christensen and Leia Kowalas.
Yep. So, 4.0s right there. That's always good. Yeah. Academic all-state right now is pretty tough. You almost have to have a 4.0. It's very, very few times where I'll see a kid that will be academic all-state that's not a 4.0. But boys wrestling, this was a seminal year this year for boys wrestling, with Coach Smart and Coach Wilcox hanging it up this year. So that was tough. They've been a part of B.R.A.V.O Wrestling. We were counted up. It's 33 years between the two of them. B.R.A.V.O Wrestling's only been an actual sport for something like 52, 53, something like that. And so they've been part of it for 33 years, more than half. Has been one of those two guys, or both of them, in the wrestling room with kids. So that's been a long time, and they've done a great job with that. Jeff was, and I don't quote me on the numbers here because I don't know for sure, but he was saying that before Gene or Jeff entered the picture, there was something like 5 state champions overall, and I think they've more than tripled that now in the 33 years that they've been there. There's over 20, which is pretty cool.
And there's a lot of names on the wall.
They got a lot of names on the wall, and obviously that's not just Coach Smart and Coach Wilcox, but you got to give them a lot of credit for it is a lot them. It's not just them, but it's a lot them. So we're gonna miss them. They did a great job this year of putting sort of the walking wounded together, to be honest with you. I mean, we had lots of kids that seemed like they just could not catch a break. They were always injured. Dixie Bingham really felt like he had a great opportunity going into the state tournament, and 2 or 3 days before divisionals broke his hand in like 3 places. Had to have surgery. Still wrestled. He still went and wrestled and took second in divisionals, and I believe he took 4th overall at state. And obviously, you look at that and go, if he's completely healthy, you got to feel like he's going to challenge for a state championship. You had Max Anderson. I was pretty proud of Max. First of all, we did win region, so that's back-to-back region championships for the boys, which is great. And we had two matches at home, both of them at home. One was against Mountain Crest and one was against Ridgeline. That came down to the final match of the night, and we ended up beating them. So they did some great things overall that way. And then Max in that the region championship with Mountain Crest ended up winning his match right in the last just a little bit. And then he goes down to state, and I believe it was in either the 2nd or 3rd round, wrestles the same kid from Mountain Crest, and ended up getting beat just barely. It was an extremely close match, and was kind of a heartbreak for him. But then comes back and ends up beating that kid eventually at the end of the state and
the bracket play.
Yeah, in bracket wrestling, and so ended on a high note for him, which was fun. I love to see Max do well. Keaton Smith, he was a kid that was just always hurt. His shoulder just never could stay in, but he did a great job at state and was able to get us some points, and he podiumed as well. And then I think Vinny also podiumed, and again, kid that just was tearing it up early in the year, was having a phenomenal year, and then had some health problems and just could not get as strong as he was at the beginning, and would get to that 3rd round, and he'd be obviously the better wrestler, but just could not finish that piece of it. And it wasn't because he wasn't in shape. It had something to do with obviously some other things that he just couldn't control. But to see him podium was amazing, because that was kind of his goal. Once he knew, I may not be able to get to there with what's going on with me physically, but I want to try to get up on the podium. So that was good. Like I said, we had a fun night. The last home match, they had invited any former wrestlers that had wrestled under Gene or Jeff to come back, and I think we had 200 or 300 of them there. That was really cool to see, just all those people that were there that Gene and Jeff had been able to influence over the years. So that was fun. That was a lot of fun. I hope that it was good for them, and that they were able to feel like they went out on a high note. And I think they have. Like I said, they've been there for a long time, and just felt like it was time to go. And you know what, when you get to that point, it's hard to do. But I think that they have given everything they could possibly to the program, and the program's obviously in as good a shape as it could possibly be. And so I think leaving it to the next guy is gonna be pretty fun. And the next guy is gonna be Caleb Hardy. We hired Coach Hardy as our new wrestling coach, and he's kind of been waiting in the wings for a little while, and patiently, we obviously, Caleb's been at the high school now for 4 years, and he was a head coach at Weber High School and did a great job there. We've slowly bled all the purple out of him, and so he doesn't have any purple anymore, and so we can feel confident that he can wear the red. No, he'll do a great job. He connects really well with kids. Has a lot of good things to bring to the program. Obviously comes from an unbelievable wrestling pedigree, and some things. So I'm excited to see what he'll do with the program and taking it and moving it forward. And like I said, Jeff and Gene left it in a phenomenal spot. And so, the expectation is Coach Hardy comes in and takes it to the next level. That's kind of the mantra for our coaches right now is, next guy up, and we gotta increase. We gotta make it better than we found it. So I think Caleb will do that. So yeah. Boys wrestling, it was fun to watch them all year, and it'll be hard to watch them next year without Gene and Jeff there, but it'll be exciting to see what the next chapter in the programs will hold.
Yeah, we'll have to get Smart and Wilcox to come be the commentator since they took my commentators. I had
there you go.
I had Hardy and
So
Neffy.
turnaround could be a little bit fair play, right? There,
Yeah.
right? Caleb and Neffy, they're hilarious. They do a great job with that. But that would be awesome to get Jeff and Gene to come in and come. Well, I'll tell you what, you want to talk about the experience level. I mean, you wouldn't even have to hardly talk. You could just say, take it over. Yeah, like I guarantee those two could get after it a little bit. So that'd be fun. Yeah.
We'll have to.
Yeah.
We'll have to do that. You had Everett Larson, Jonathan Harris, Max Anderson, and Vinny Fertig.
Yeah.
All
academic, all state. Great kids. Obviously, all of those kids are just absolutely phenomenal kids, and love to see them do well. And academic all state is a huge deal for us. We put up. If anybody's been in the high school, you go down the outside the gym. They're every academic all state we've had since I think 1984. Which is as far back as I could find any records. They're up on the wall, and the year and the sport that they were there, so they're kind of immortalized in something that we feel like is a huge deal. So if you can get academic all-state, we feel like you deserve an award and be honored with all of the greats at B.R.A.V.O High School. So yeah, those kids will get up there. So yeah, good kids.
Let's go to boys basketball. We were 9-15 overall. Yeah. 5-7 in a region. That got you 4th in region, 17th in the RPI.
Yeah, and again, our region's really tough. You look at it. We had 3 of the 4 teams, or 3 of the 5 teams that were in the semifinals basically come from our region. Green Canyon plays for the region championship. We had a ton of really close games. I think we had 4 or 5 games that we were within 2 or 3 points within 30 seconds before of the game. And just weren't able to put that away, but I thought our kids played hard, and Coach Shaw and his staff did a really good job of getting everybody ready. I would go into practices after tough losses, and they were there working hard, and the kids were working hard, and so yeah, we get through. We had some really good region games as well. I felt like our last game against Logan. Logan came out to play, and obviously Logan was a pretty good team. They end up beating Skyview in the first round of the playoffs. Skyview had a fairly large injury that I think that probably helped out as well. But Logan was a pretty good team, and they came out and were playing really, really well. And our kids just said, "No, you're not winning this game today," and got after it and did a good job there. We had beat Mountain Crest a couple of times. The Ridgeline game that we had at home was a really, really close game. We also actually, Green Canyon ends up playing.
That was a close game.
Yeah, they ended up playing for the state championship, and really we're up in the fourth quarter for a little while, and then obviously their big guy goes off. He hit I think he hit 3 3-pointers in a row from half court.
Yeah, I think he only had 7 points at halftime, and
you're not gonna.
I don't know what he drank at halftime, but he came back out.
Yeah, you're just not. I mean, that kid's just really good. I mean, he signed a D1 scholarship. I think at Holy Cross, I think is where he's going to play D1 basketball, and you're just not going to hold that kid down too long. I mean, we did a great job, and good players find a way to get their points, and there in the fourth quarter, man, he just sort of had. Yeah, I mean, it was the one. I remember the one shot. He comes across half court. He was 10 feet beyond the 3-point line, and we hadn't even started to pick him up yet, and he just shot and drained it, and you're like, whoa! And then he hit another one, and that one, and it just kind of changed the momentum, and we just couldn't quite get that back, but no, and then you go down and play Westfield at their place in the first round of the playoffs, and for the most part of the game, I thought we did a great job, and then all of a sudden we just couldn't hit a shot there at the last piece. Yeah. There's about a 4-minute stretch. We had good shots. We had shots. It wasn't like we were not getting the looks that we needed. They just didn't fall. It was almost like there was a lid on the basket, and we just couldn't get them to go in. And credit Westfield, they came out and played well on their home court, and I think that's obviously we beat them earlier on our home court, and having home court in the playoffs is a big deal. So and
that was one that could have just flopped either way.
We're right there. I mean, the score was a little weird at the end of the game because of some other stuff, but I mean, honestly, with 2 minutes left, I think it's a 3-point game, but we just couldn't hit a shot right there for about a 4-minute stretch. And then they hit a couple of
they had to bring their freshmen off the bench to do it because even their guys wasn't.
Yeah, which was crazy because the freshman hasn't played much all year. He really, I mean, he's been in spots, and come in and done some stuff, but he hasn't played that much. And that was, you got to give their coach a little bit of credit for saying, okay, freshman, go in and help us out. And he did. I mean, he came in and made some good shots. And then right down at the end of that game, there was a couple of circus shots they made. The one layup that was like over the back, under the legs. You're like, you can't defend it much better than you do. And then all of a sudden the basket goes in. You're like, all right. Sometimes the basketball gods aren't on our side, so just deal with that. But yeah, I thought. We had quite a few seniors this year, and they did a great job. We've got a good group coming back next year with some talent that way, and I think we'll see a marked improvement on some of those things. And Coach Shaw's got the right staff that he feels like is going to be able to help that next year, and so we'll look forward to some good things that way.
All right, we'll just follow on with girls basketball. 5-18 overall, 3-9 in region. They got you 5th. In the region, 23rd in the RPI.
And girls, again, they played a ton of close games. I mean, we had a really, really close game against Box Elder at home. We had a really, really close game against Tooele at their place that we got beat by 1 point. And again, our region is extremely, extremely tough when it comes to girls basketball. You have Green Canyon, Ridgeline, and Skyview all made it. Oh, and Mountain Crest, all 4 of those teams actually made it to past the second round in the state playoffs. Which is for the 4 teams in our region, that's pretty good. And so that'll when you have that level of competition, you're gonna have to play well. And there were times where we played really well, and the times we just couldn't score. I actually felt like our defense was really good, especially at home. We played really good defense at home. Ridgeline's undefeated all year, and we probably played them as good defensively in at least the first half as anybody.
You had it a 1-point game in the third quarter.
Yeah, in the third quarter, even all the way through that, and so you feel good for that. We did beat Green Canyon at home on senior night, which was a huge deal because
that was big.
I think that shocked them just a little bit. I don't think they thought they were going to be able to. I thought they probably thought they were going to come in and beat us pretty good, but. We just kept punching back every time, got down a little bit, kept hitting a shot, and so we had a lot of seniors this year. I think we had three underclassmen that played some significant minutes. Obviously had a freshman and a sophomore that played some significant minutes, and then we had a couple of kids get hurt that I think would have helped us as well had they been there all season. But we'll miss the seniors that are going to graduate this year. They've been a staple of the program for 3 years and provided a ton of good leadership, and we're looking forward to see what we can do next year with some of those younger kids, and we've got some good young kids coming up, and hopefully we'll be able to rebuild just a little bit and see where we can be. It'll be next year will be a little bit more interesting with the new region. It's not just the Cache Valley schools that you got to worry about now. We got some schools in the Tooele Valley that will be a little bit different dynamic than what we've had before, and so I think we'll match up with them really well.
I was gonna say bringing the other 3 schools in. I think that helps you in region play.
It gives us a lot more parity. Like it's not more such a tale of the haves and the have-nots anymore. I think there's a lot more consistency across the board that way. So that'll definitely make us a little bit more competitive and give us some other things to look forward to on that.
Not a fan of the more miles, but
we've done it before. I mean, it's nothing new, right? For 10 years. When I
was in high school, that was our region.
Tooele and Grantsville, we always went to, and so we've done it, and it's not that. Yes, it's not always fun, but it's really not that bad either.
So Shelby Wilkinson, Aubrey Fry for the girls, Bridger Adams, Porter Merrill for the boys is your
academic All-State. Yeah, congratulations to them. That's again a big deal. We want to make sure that they know that that's a big deal. So they'll get their plaque up there as well.
Robotics.
Yeah, robotics isn't done yet, so they're still.
They finish up in the spring.
Yeah. Yes. They're for some reason this year their stuff goes quite a bit longer than it has in the past. But we have right now, I believe we have 2 teams that have automatically qualified for Worlds competition. And then they'll have their state competition, I think, here in 2 weeks. I believe it's in 2 weeks, and we're hoping that we'll get another 2 teams that will earn a bid from Utah's pool of Worlds tickets. So we're hoping to get at least 4 teams to go, and we could do better than that depending on what our skills, they call it the skills competition, does. We're actually ranked in the world in the skills competition, so depending on where we end up finishing up with that, we could get an extra spot there. So yeah, robotics, they go. I mean, I'll tell you what, I say this all the time. There's not a harder working team in our school. They're there like all the time. I mean, they're always there. Thursdays are kind of their big night, and they're generally there till 11 o'clock at night on Thursdays. They'll just stay there, have dinner, and then, man, they get after it. So we've increased our participation in that program every year since its inception, and it's pretty fun to watch those kids. If you've never been to a robotics competition, it's not an easy thing to watch because there's always different rules. Like, you don't understand exactly all the time who's winning or who's losing. But man, I'll tell you what, it's fun to watch those kids work together, and they fix their robots, and they go out and they make adjustments, and then they program stuff, and it's just a fun thing for kids. And I'll tell you what, there are a lot of things that they learn with that. It's a lot like an athletics team, to be honest with you. And Preston Ritchie, who's our advisor over that, runs it a lot like an athletics program. And they've got all kinds of benchmarks and stuff that they use, and how much time have you put in. He's kind of an analytical geek. He'll tell you the same thing. And man, they've got like spreadsheets all over their wall about what works and what doesn't, and strategy and all this stuff. And they love it, and it's great. And I love to watch the kids. They have a great time, and they do a good job. And I think for a little while we were kind of at the top of the state, mostly because most of the rest of the schools in the state hadn't caught up to us. We were able to kind of get on the front, on the ground level of that, and take advantage of that. Our kids were a little farther ahead than everybody else. And right now, what we're finding is everybody's catching us just a little bit, just because everybody's working their guts out, and so we have to work that much harder just to stay ahead. But our kids have done a good job with that this year. It's been fun to watch all their teams, and we have a huge tournament we host a huge tournament at our school, the very, very first of November, and it's pretty intense. They start setting up at like 3 o'clock the day before, and they'll start running at 7 o'clock in the morning, and it won't get done till 5 or 6 o'clock that night. And it's all volunteer ran. Nobody gets paid for anything on any of those things,
wow.
which is pretty impressive when you look at it and see how many teams and all that kind of stuff that's going in. All of it's basically a volunteer. They've gone to several different national competitions this year. In fact, I think it was 2 weeks ago, they split up and they had teams in 3 different states competing on the same weekend. So they sent a team to Idaho, they sent one to Colorado, and then there was a competition in Utah. So, just
crazy.
Yeah. So it's good stuff. We've gotten the Excellence Award several times in some national competitions, that's the highest award you can get in those competitions. And it's really just, how did you build your robot? What types of things did you use? They have to have they have this huge binder that they give to the judges, and there's a bunch of rubrics on it. And so our kids different teams have actually won it in those competitions, which is really, really neat to see. It's not just one team that's dominating everything. That we've had several different teams that have won the Excellence Awards in those competitions. So yeah, fun stuff. If you ever get a chance to go out and watch the robotics, man, they're kicking the pants. It's fun.
All right, let's finish off with girls wrestling.
Girls wrestling,
sports.
Man. Yeah.
They had a hell of a year.
They did. So back-to-back region champions. No, I'm sorry. That was boys.
Sorry.
The first region championship. So yeah, last year lost a close one to Mountain Crest, to weren't able to win the region, and this year came out and put it to them a little bit at this year and got the region championship. So I know that was their first goal going in, and they did a great job with that. Coach Bingham has really just done a fantastic job of building that program and expanding the numbers of girls that are in there.
You had 19 seniors.
Yeah. And not obviously some of those didn't wrestle all the way through because they got hurt, but to just have 19 seniors, that's pretty amazing that they want to stay in the program that long. I mean, you only have 14 varsity spots that wrestle at a dual. So you have 19 seniors, which means they want to be there, which is a huge testament to what they feel like they're getting out of that as a wrestler, just to be in the room with everybody. It was phenomenal. It was fun to watch them. They had great camaraderie within their program. They had really good leadership this year. They had some senior leaders this year that were really good, that stepped up and did some fun things. I'll miss some people, but some of the ones that we had in our SALT program are Sydney Nielsen and Eve Alsup were in the SALT program, and I know that they were phenomenal leaders. You had the Meads twins that were there as well. JJ Esquivel, she was great as a leader, and I think that did a lot for them. I know, in talking to Coach Bingham, he's like, I didn't have to do a whole lot because we'd get in the room and it was just an expectation from everyone that you're going to get to work if you were in the room, and that was it. There's no arguments. We're just going to work. Girls wrestling, I think it's the fourth year. Yeah, I want to say it's the fourth year that it's been a sanctioned sport. Right? We've taken second. Might be the fifth year because we've taken second 4 years in a row in the state, and so obviously that was a big deal. Second region, second state. Every year it's been sanctioned, which is phenomenal. There's not another program that out in our school that wouldn't take that, right? Like if you can do that year in and year out, you got a special program. And but I know for them it was a big deal. We got to get over that hump, and we got to get a region champion and a state champion. And so they were able to do the region championship, and then going into divisionals. They were able to do some good things there. I think there was a few upsets, but that's going to happen no matter what. Mm-hmm. There's a couple of kids that were sick. I know going into divisionals, it's the worst time of the year, honestly.
Oh, yeah.
As a wrestler, you're beating your body up pretty hard anyway, and then that for that 2 weeks leading up into that, you had a situation where it kind of ran through the team. Everybody got sick, and some of them were able to recover faster than others, and it just there was some upsets there in divisionals. And I think we thought maybe we would get maybe 4 more kids that would qualify for the state tournament, but I think we ended up with 20, which is still a ton. Coach Bingham said something at the banquet that they had, that our JV team, and don't quote me on the numbers, I think this is what he said. I think he said our JV team scored more points than 9 other varsity teams down at the state tournament.
Wow.
which is pretty impressive, meaning that you get to take two girls per weight could qualify if you have that many, depending on where they finish in divisionals. And so we literally, I think we had 2 girls in almost every weight that was there, which is crazy. You don't usually get that. I think Mountain Crest was the only team that had more overall wrestlers than us. I think they ended up with 24 going in, and we had 20. Not a big deal. And obviously kind of showed in the score when we finally gets down to it, right? And I talked to Coach Bingham because we had some girls that wrestled just out of their head and probably didn't get as many accolades as they should, because they may not have finished on the podium, but when they win some of those early rounds,
not giving up pins,
and not giving up pins, so they're not major decisions, and you're limiting what the other teams can score. It's a different situation when you get into the state tournament. It's a completely different animal than a dual meet. Mm-hmm. It's not a head-to-head anymore. It's how good is your team, and you got to have all of those kids that are what we would consider JV, but at that point they're not. They're just part of the team, and you got to get points, and you got to not give up points. And all of our kids just did a great job with that, and it was kind of fun. Scores were close the first day. Going into it, and Coach Bingham won't look at the scores at all. He didn't want to know what they were. And I talked to him after. I said, "Hey, how we sitting?" He's like, "I have no idea." I'm like, "Yes, you do. Don't give me that." He's like, "No, I really don't know. I don't know what the score is, and I won't let anybody tell me." And I was like, "Okay." So I went and talked to a couple other people, and they're like, "No, we're in good shape, but we're gonna have to wrestle tomorrow because you got Uinta and Mountain Crest, who still have a ton of girls left, and depending on what they do and what we do, it could go either way." And so we get into that second day, and man, we had a phenomenal day. I mean, everybody just wrestled out of their heads and just did some fun stuff. I think Ridgeline's coach went up to Coach Bingham about halfway through the day and finally said, hey, you realize it's mathematically impossible for you guys not to win the state championship. And I think Jason at that point was like, oh, I now I do, you know, and then he was able to kind of relax a little bit and just kind of enjoy it, which was good to see, because, you know, he obviously puts a ton of time into that and wants his team to succeed and wants those girls to succeed and feel that something that they've never felt before. And so, you know, I think he poured his heart and soul into it. So did the rest of his staff. And once you got to that point when we knew it was kind of locked up, you could see him relax just a little bit. And I think that actually helped the rest of our girls. I mean, we had 5 state champions. We went 5 for 5 in the finals. That's unheard of. I mean, especially there was a couple of matches there that really we weren't favored to win. I mean, JJ's first match, she got beat, I think 13-2 against that girl the week before. You know, she'd only wrestled her once, and that girl from Ridgeline kind of took it to her, and JJ was just able to come out and just say, that ain't happening today. You know, you're gonna have to beat me. If you beat me, fine, but I'm not going down like that. And you know, able to come out in a just a phenomenal match and get our first state championship. And then you go to
and that was the first time I don't know if that was another rule change or whatever, but all the overtimes.
Yeah, it's kind of an interesting deal. And I'm not even sure I understand the overtime stuff, to be honest with you, but I know we had enough of them.
Similar to like football. So if they get a field goal, whatever, you get a chance to do it. So
well, the first one, I think there's the first round is everybody's up, and if there's a takedown in that round, then that person wins. Mm-hmm. So if somebody scores a point when they're both on their feet, then that they win. So then, but after that round, they go to 30 seconds and they flip the coin, whoever gets to choose. So if you choose bottom and you get an escape, then you get 1 point, and then the other person gets to make a choice.
Try to match.
And they could get more points. And it's a 30-second deal, so, you know, back and forth. And then after that round, then it is a true, you can't let them score. The first person to score is the winner. So it's kind of crazy. And so JJ went, nobody scored in the first round, so there was no takedowns. And then JJ got an escape in the second round in the 30 seconds, which meant, okay, so then obviously the Ridgeline girl's going to pick bottom, because she's got to get out, and if she gets a reversal, it's over.
Yeah.
Because the reversal's 2 points, and so as soon as that happens, and so JJ was able to ride that out for 30 seconds and not let her up, which was amazing, because, you know, that JJ's great on her feet, and she's really good on the bottom. She's very few people can keep her down, but I think she'd probably tell you her probably not her best place is on top. Although she's super strong and she will get after it, a little bit.
Oh yeah, but she was just holding on for dear life. She was even like looking back at the clock and just sitting there watching it count down.
Go, I got 10 seconds left, and you know, it's one of those situations where I think conditioning in that particular match, I'll tell you, conditioning made a difference. And JJ, you know, that was the hard work they put in early. So
well, you ran all fall in soccer, and then you just come in and
she's a great athlete, and it was nice to see her have that success. So Reese had talk about a phenomenal tournament. I mean, she wrestled some kids that she hasn't beat for a little while, and it was just pin after pin after pin. That was huge for us as far as points go. And, you know, I think it was a semifinal match. She was down, and honestly, it was close in that I think it was the second round. She'd given up some points and looked like she was might be a little bit tired there, and came out in the third round, and then I think it only lasted like 10 seconds into the third round. She hit I don't know what you call it, but something on her feet, and was able to take the girl right to her back and got a pin and got her into the finals, and then was able to finish it off, which was fun to see. You know, fun to see her do that. And then you got Eve, with 3-time state champion. You know, Eve's fun to watch because she's just so efficient. Like, she just doesn't. I mean, she doesn't waste any time. It's like, no, we're gonna do it this way. You know, I'm not gonna waste any time. And I don't think any of the people that she wrestled, I know she didn't get out of the first round. Like, she had a pin in the first round in every match at state, which is phenomenal, because you got the best of the best there. And obviously when when you can be that good. And then still, the fun thing about Eve is she's easy to root for because she's so happy and nice. Even when she beats you, she's got she's patting you on the back, and you're like, if you're a competitor, you're like, no, I hate it when you do that because then I gotta like you. So, but she's one of those people that you kind of love to hate. You don't want to hate her because she's so nice, but she's so good. You're like, man, it'd be nice if somebody else could win once in a while. But she does a great job that way, and she's fun. She's in our SALT program, and she provides a ton of cool insights when we're meeting, and so she's fun to watch, and it's fun to see her do well.
Reese, like I watched her wrestle her final match, and she's got like no emotion. You don't know if she's winning, losing.
Yep.
It's the same demeanor through the whole thing. Even when she won, I didn't see her get a smile until Eve won.
Yes, yeah, and I think for Reese, I think a lot of it she put a lot of pressure on herself, right? That she wanted that, and sometimes when you do that, it's hard to have emotion after that because you just don't know how to, you don't know how to do it. But it was fun to see her have some emotion when Eve won, which was really cool. So it was, I think she finally relaxed enough to go, I can enjoy this now. And Eve wins, and then it's a lot of fun. And you could see her after the tournament was over with having a lot of fun with her teammates and stuff. So it was good to see that.
And she signed right after her match. She signed for Nebraska.
Yeah, which is that's a really cool deal, and I think there'll probably be a couple of other of our athletes, our wrestlers, who will sign as well. So yeah, it was pretty cool to see Reese do that. It was fun. It was a good night. You got Sid, so then Sydney comes in, and again had been hurt some of the season, so she probably didn't do as well in all of her tournaments as she wanted to, because going in she was ranked pretty high. I believe she was an All-American at the the Reno meets, and then had a couple of meets where she just didn't do as well, whether she was hurt or didn't feel good or whatever. So it was good to see her 100% going into the state tournament. She just, again, in fact, I'm pretty sure she didn't make it out of the first round either, or at least her opponents didn't make it out of the first round. I think she had a pin in every first round, all the way through, which was a lot of fun to watch. And she's a fun kid to watch because she has such a smile on her face all the time. She's always just complimenting people, and she'll get after it. Don't get me wrong. She gets emotional, but it's a different situation. You don't ever feel like she's being disrespectful to anybody. Because when the match is over, man, she's the first one to congratulate people. And again, she's part of our SALT program, so it was fun to watch her have a great meet and finish it off with a state championship. And then the last match of the day was Lolly, and that was a lot of fun because that was we knew going in that was going to be a really tough match for her. In fact, I think the girl had beat her
the
week before, right, for divisionals, if I remember right. And it was a close match after the first round, and then Lolly just did a great job being on top, and man, she fought to get a couple of holds there, and then was able to get the girl turned. And once that happened, Mr. Lee was sitting next to me. I said, if she turns her, it's over. If this girl lets her turn her, she's not going to get up. And and that's the way it was, which was great. And it was a lot of fun to watch her reaction. She's worked pretty hard the last couple of years. To just be able to wrestle. She had to do a lot of things to just be able to actually be on the mat. And so to see her succeed that way, it was a lot of fun. Watch her with her brother and her parents was a lot of fun to see. They were excited, and it's kind of fun. Her grandpa was a state champion. His name's up on the wall, and so her name will go on the other side. So it's kind of fun to have a little bit of a family deal there. So yeah, it was just a lot of fun to watch Coach Bingham and his staff. They loved every minute of it, I think, and it's kind of fun. I at the banquet, so something maybe people don't know, maybe some of you might, but so Jason and Chris and myself are all graduates of B.R.A.V.O High School. And we all graduated the same year, so we're all 1991 graduates, and so there's 3 coaches up there. There's been about I was counted up the other day. There's roughly 20 state championships at Bear River High School over in all sports. And between the three of us, there's 5. Obviously, Chris has 3, so he gets a little advantage there. But you know, we were fortunate enough to win one in baseball, and then Jason got one this year, and he'll get. I think I'm pretty confident they'll get more. But I just thought it was pretty fun that 3 kids from the same class end up coming back to the high school because we love the high school and we want to see people do well here in our own hometown. And all 3 of us from the same class get a chance to win a state championship. I don't know that happens very often, but you know, it's kind of fun. So it was good to see him get it because he was the one that had always chasing it. Like we said, for the last 5 years, it's been right there on the cusp. There was a couple of years ago where I know the expectation was that we were going to win it, and it just didn't work out. And so those are hard sometimes, and to see him come back and they dominated this year, it was kind of fun. So.
Yeah, heck of a year for girls wrestling. Hadley Kerrigan, Olivia Meads is your
academic all-state. Yeah, those are two, and Hadley had a great tournament too. The twins had a great tournament. You got 2 freshmen that had unbelievable tournaments. Riley Smith was our JV heavyweight that she took 3rd. She did a phenomenal job. So yeah, lots of really just fun things that got to happen there. And Riley Yates, I think, took 3rd. She'll be coming back. Coach Bingham's got a lot of young kids coming back next year. Like I said, I think he's going to have a chance to get a couple more of those state titles. So hopefully we'll be able to get her done.
All right. That's your winter sports recap. B.R.A.V.O Live is out of hibernation from the completion of winter sports. Now kicking off our coverage of spring sports, starting off next week with boys soccer versus Kearns on Monday. Then we go inside for boys volleyball as they host the Logan Grizzlies on Tuesday. Then with fingers crossed, weather stays good for softball on Wednesday as the Lady Bears welcome in the 6A state champion Riverton Silver Wolves to the ballpark. And then Thursday, baseball takes on Davis, then wrap the week up with softball at Ridgeline on Friday. With weather being unpredictable this time of year, if softball and baseball games get canceled, we then will pull an audible and have some boys lacrosse. They host Woods Cross on Wednesday. Soccer hosts Grantsville on Thursday. And girls lacrosse battles the Bees on Friday. There's plenty of sports going on in the springtime here at Bear River High School, so come out and support your Bears.
Tune in next week as spring sports are in full swing, and be sure to always check out Talk of the Town.